going to talk about Ascendant again because it cut off before, and so rather than paste two different clips together, I'm just going to start all over again. So I thought Ascendant was about a girl who gets turned into an alien and defeats other visiting aliens who are going to take over the world. I sort of thought what the movie was about, but then you watch it and it's 100% about a girl being tortured in an elevator, and then it's full stop. And then there's the end. So it's not actually that active, but it actually still draws your attention, makes sense, combines the story with memories, and so it's all pretty smooth. And then comes the end where where the chick defragments herself to become a supernatural being. And so I was like, oh, okay, here comes the alien bit. And she's not actually an alien, she's a supernatural being, which is like without, and she defragments herself, turns into this energy. And I think at the end she's actually an elevator. So she turns herself into an elevator, so some sort of morph. And then, you know, or, it comes across that she's an elevator, but she's probably the energy running the elevator or something like that. But it's really unclear because there's huge cuts near the end. So it's like, oh, she's going down, cut. Oh, she's a big energy, and then it's cut. Then the bad people are packing up, and then, they hop into an elevator, and, and you get the idea that she's like in control of the elevator. Then they go down, and then it's cut. And then the next scene, she approaches her relative, who's like just been beaten throughout the whole film. She approaches them as a person, and then they defragment themselves. So it's a hereditary thing. And you wonder why can she defragment and put herself together, and the other guy, her family member, defragments and then they can't put themselves together. You wonder that. But up until the end, it's actually quite good because it keeps your attention. But then it comes, all these end bits have huge cuts, and you're like going, oh, what are these cuts for? Because it sort of gets a little bit weak. It doesn't really tell the whole story. It's just all about, something ambiguous. It's I think it just cuts, one thing to another, and doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. So, like, you don't find her finding her father. She just appears next to her father, and stuff. And it's really confusing because it doesn't really tell you everything. So, I thought the ending could have been patched up to become clearer because it is a little bit weak and it's wishy-washy. I mean, you're like, oh, didn't she turn into a defragmented energy, and then, she's back together as a person, and she's found her dad. How did she find her dad, How'd she know which floor they were on or something? So I guess they must have been on the ground floor or something, but if they're on the ground floor, they wouldn't be taking the elevator down. And you're like going, this story doesn't make any sense. So that's sort of what you're thinking. But no, it was pretty involving though. Like, even though it basically didn't have a lot going on, it's pretty involving because it's sort of, well, I was sort of clueless, and I haven't seen it like a movie in a while, and at the beginning, like, it sort of was startling me, and I was thinking, oh, maybe it wasn't such a good idea because right at the beginning, your heart starts racing because you're like, oh, what's that? And I was like, oh, what's that? It's sort of making you jump a little bit because there's a few surprise bits, and you're like going, oh my gosh, I generally haven't seen a movie especially not one that surprises you in a really long time, like over 10 years. And I was like, chewing on my nails at the beginning and thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't have like seen this movie. Maybe I should like, because it might. I thought it was gonna like continue to be scare me and startle me, and I was like, you know, but I persevered and I got through it. And the more longer you watch, the more settled you get with the movie and what's going on. Doesn't quite make you jump so much, but at the beginning it does, like, because I think it's just because you just haven't seen it before, and everything's like startling, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? And it's like, oh, it's jump, but then, as you watch it, it comes quite a bit more calm, and you get used to seeing what's going on. um and then at the end, it's like you're going, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't nothing makes sense. So I think the end is a bit of a letdown. But other than that, I was watching it all the way through. It was like I had waited like a whole week to go down to the cinemas to watch it, because I knew I wanted to watch it today, and so I went down by myself. And yeah, I didn't have any regrets seeing it. I thought it was actually pretty good for a pretty much of a nothing movie. Don't ask me what I'm gonna watch next. I was thinking, I have been wondering if I want to try and watch Mortal Kombat, but that's an R18 plus movie. Probably extremely strong violence and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm not sure about that. I used to watch all these movies all the time, but I don't anymore. So I haven't. So I'm sort of quite out of the swing, and I'm not desensitized, and I'm pretty jumpy, and I'm like, oh. But yeah. So I'm not sure what I'll watch. I've been wanting to watch a family movie, but there's a lot of movies that aren't necessarily family friendly. So it's like, yeah. But oh, sounds half these cars sound like a car crash waiting to happen. It's the thing about this block. It's like you just hear a car. And it's like, oh, is that gonna drive through a fence one day? That's why you need trees and bushes around your fence line, because we live right on a curb off a busy main road. Anyway, I was talking about Ascendant. Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty good actually. Yeah, like I'm not sure if it ever won any awards or anything, but I thought it was good. I don't know who the actress was though. I thought it was like the chick he did like was the Brady Bunch or something, the Marsha chick, but it's actually some other chick, So I was like, oh, I was way off, you know. So goes to show you should actually read about who's acting rather than guess. But yeah. But I thought it was actually quite good, and I'm glad I saw it. And I'm glad that, I saw it